all want to ring in the new year in style, right? So that's why we've got Melanie Pace here, our fashionista, glitz and glamour queen. I had to say it.
Well, in just a couple of weeks, spring is finally going to be here. The weather is already in the 80s, and that means it is time to check out your closet and figure out what is hot and what's not for spring. And the girl who can always answer these questions is fashion stylist Melanie Pace.
All right, so you know, if we're talking about fashion, we have to bring in our stylist Melanie Pace, because we need to talk about who had the best dresses and the worst dresses. Joining us live to discuss this, stylist Melanie Pace. Mel, thanks for coming in.
Of course.
Some really fun stuff, and our stylist Melanie Pace is joining us this morning to tell us about the trends that we can expect this year. I love what you have on right now, actually.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melanie Pace, and I'm 29 years old, and I'm a wardrobe stylist right here in Orlando, Florida. I know you may think of Orlando as maybe not the most fashion forward or the place that there's all the trend setting, but that's where I come in. I'm a personal shopper, I'm a wardrobe stylist, I'm a fashion consultant. You may see me emceeing some local charity events or on the local televisions right here in Orlando. I keep Orlando hot, trendy, fresh, and new. I started out working in anthropology. I was a visual merchandiser, and I realized quickly that I wasn't a carpenter. So I met a couple of baseball players' wives and golfers' wives, and I took my business and made it into something. The one thing that I tell all future aspiring stylists is fake it till you made it. I had business cards that I actually cut out with scissors myself. I printed on my own printer. And I went into these stores and made sure that everyone knew who I was and what I was about. So from there, I took my business to a whole nother level. I made sure that I had a website, I had a blog, I had a Facebook page. I had all of those things that were going to network myself just by word of mouth. I had no money. I knew no one in town except for the people that I had been networking with my retail jobs. So I knew I needed to take it to another level. I started working for magazines. I started working at all the TV stations in town. And from there, it just has kind of pummeled onto this amazing career. But it hasn't been easy. It's really been a learning process. I figured it out on my own. I knew that there was a niche for this in this town, and I had to figure it out. So now I am the Mall at Millennia's personal shopper, fashion stylist, and I also create and style and produce all of their fashion shows. So here I am. I was one day walking through the mall, wishing and hoping that I could be at these events, and the next year I was producing and styling them. So it's just one of those things, like I said, fake it till you made it until you have, and once you have, you can do anything. My fashion motto is take a risk. Do not be afraid to do anything, because especially if you have such a love for fashion, you know that every day something is changing in fashion. Each season you're gonna see the bigger and better trend. So don't be afraid to do it. If you're not comfortable with it, however, just do it in a little way. Maybe do the pop of the color in the handbag or the shoe and not do the overall look. But it's all about staying true to who you are, and the quicker that you find out what your personal style is, the more risks that you can take. Okay, so I have some do's and don'ts. I would say my first fashion don't, and this is what I tell all of my clients, all of my friends, do not wear your leggings as pants. It's a crime. It's awful. Don't do it. I want to make sure that when I'm walking down the street that from the front I'm flattering and from the back I'm flattering. So make sure when you're wearing leggings that you're wearing things that are going to cover the bum. My next fashion don't is, I've almost even wanted to start a blog talking about this, is the inappropriate use of high-waisted belts. It's absolutely crazy, and I love the fact that people are taking the risks of actually using belts, because most of my clients don't even own belts. But it's one of those things that you need to make sure that you're using them appropriately. If you have something that is a little bigger, a little baggier, throwing on a belt, great. Don't buy a belt that is the size of your entire waist. Don't buy a belt that is so skinny that you're not even going to be able to see it. It just looks like it's an ill-fitting shirt. So make sure when you're thinking about those two don'ts that you're really researching and seeing if it's great for your body before you ever do it. Some of my fashion do's, however, are accessorize. I mean, as you can see here, I'm completely accessorized, decked out, but that's my personal style. I love jewelry, and I think that accessorizing can either make or break an outfit. If you're somebody that is really into accessorizing, don't worry about it. Take the risk and keep adding, because if you have that confidence, you're able to do it. One of my other fashion do's, especially for this season, is gonna be the maxi dress. I think maxi dresses, whether you're short, tall, even if you've got a little weight here in your middle section, which most women do, it's going to flatter you. You can add a belt, you can add a jacket, you can add heels, flats. It's one of those things that a lot of people are afraid of, but if you just try it, it's really flattering on anybody. So I think the most important thing is just making sure that I'm always on top of my game and making sure that I am always out there, always go, always at the next event, always making sure that I'm up on trends, but also staying true to myself. I think that the most important thing too, and what I tell my clients, is having an entire wardrobe full of designer pieces is not going to make you fashionable. You really have to learn what your personal style is and what looks great on your body. You may have a piece from Forever 21 that was $11, but it's your favorite shirt. I always say buy 3 or 4 of them. Buy them in a couple of colors. So that way, if it goes bad or if you need to throw it away after the first use, it's okay. You didn't spend a lot of money on it. But that's how I dress, and that's how I dress my clients. Making sure that you're mixing the high and the low in your wardrobe. And what I mean by that is the high-end luxury pieces that people should have peppered into their wardrobe, but then also not being afraid to go into the contemporary section, or an Urban Outfitters, or an H&M, a Forever 21, or a Topshop. Those are places that you are gonna find those special key trendy pieces that you can just throw out of your wardrobe. I sometimes think I'm Nicki Minaj, and I'm not kidding. I think that I know every word to every song, and I really don't. But I think what's fun and quirky about maybe something about my personality is I like to sing. I like to dance, I like to sing, and I like to record it. And I send it to my friends, and they think I'm insane, but for some reason, it makes them smile, it makes them laugh, it makes their day. I love doing that. So, aside from that, of being a wardrobe stylist, there's other things that I do. And I think that the quirky singing, dancing side of me comes out when I'm on stage. I MC events for local charities, and I also do a ton of TV stuff. That's when I really feel like myself. I am able to express who I am and also kind of give that personality out to people in the crowd. It's great to see people light up or laugh at you when you're on stage and you do something so ridiculous or you say something so outlandish that they actually think it's funny. I think a lot of being a wardrobe stylist is a lot of behind the scenes, but I'm much more than that. So I don't want to sell myself short by just calling myself a wardrobe stylist. Barbie has really been a huge inspiration for me. But aside from Barbie, I think I grew up in a very small town here in Orlando, and I grew up not really knowing anything about designer clothing or designer labels. I grew up very simple. My dad made $11 an hour with 2 kids and a wife and a house, and I never really had the luxury of going to the mall. And even my mom now, she still has a hard time going to the mall because she feels very inferior. But for me, it was always one of those things. I was going to make Kmart look good. I was going to make those Walmart shoes that everyone else had Converse, but I had the Onverse brand. I was going to make that work. So I think that's what's really made me who I am today, is that every job I had, I made sure it was in retail, it was in fashion. I could get that discount, or I was gonna get those shoes no matter what. And I think that's kind of how I shop today and how I shop for my clients, is that making sure that it doesn't have to be all luxury brands, but it can be something that you mix and match your personality and what you have. You don't have to be rich to love fashion, and you don't have to be rich to show that you love fashion or to have style. It's all about who you are and what you are, and that's what can create your own personal style. And I think that's what's amazing about my job, is that I'm able to create each individual client, each individual fashion show or TV segment that I produce. I am speaking to each individual person differently. Okay, WhoWhatWear is an incredible website. It's one of my personal favorites, and it's almost like a fashion Bible for me. It has anything and everything you could possibly think of or want as a fashionista. It also gears towards the everyday person that really is just looking for that everyday fashion blog or style editor pics or even street fashion. They have videos. They have the Girl of the Month, which is my personal favorite. I love seeing who the it girl is right now and what she's wearing. And I think that that's really important to even my clients and people that really want to see what they're wearing, who they're wearing, pics that may not even be, super designer that are being thrown at these celebrities. So I love Girl of the Month because it's real and it's who everyone is kind of following these days. WhoWhatWear really speaks to the everyday person, and that's what I love about the website. I am completely obsessed.